Really nice to see all of you here. So I'm Markku from Amazon Web Services. I was actually 14 years in mobile and telco. I was at Nokia Networks, mostly in R&D for 14 years. I was the cloud architect for Nokia Networks for a while. And now I'm on the other side, AWS. So I'd like to show you how to get to scale. How do you get to scale and what is scale? 1,000 people is not scale. 10,000 customers is not scale. Millions. And there's many ways of getting to scale. You break the bank or you do it in a smart way. So I'd like to show you some really modern ways of getting into scale with serverless computing and event-driven systems. So what you actually want is you want speed. You want to quickly develop new applications. You want to fail fast, quick and cheap. And then you want to scale the success. Angry Birds was the 52nd game of Rovio. Nobody knows the 51 first games. They had to fail fast and cheap and quick. The cloud lets them do that. And then Angry Birds, boom, hit the jackpot. So they can scale to millions of users running it on AWS. What you need to do is focus on your business, focus on the right thing, focus on your product, move up the stack. Managing data centers and servers is not your primary business. So that's why in the AWS cloud, we now have more than 50 services, but you should consider them to be building blocks. Like Lego blocks that kids are playing with. Individual Lego blocks, not that interesting. Compute, yeah, compute. But when you put them together, you can build something really powerful and cool. Like NTT Docomo, the biggest operator in the world. NTT Docomo has quite many subscribers, and they needed to analyze what are they doing, what is the customer experience. They need scale, but it has to be cost-efficient, reliable, durable, secure. So Docomo is collecting all the information from their cell towers in Japan, sending it with their own cables to Amazon Cloud, and then running petabyte-scale analytics using our big data services there. So let's talk about data tier at scale. First of all, where do you put files? So if you want to analyze, for example, log files generated by your services, where? Well, you need to store them somewhere. You don't want to lose them. One nice place is Amazon S3. Simple storage service, unlimited storage capacity. So for example, all the songs of Spotify are here. All the movies of Netflix are there. Spotify is adding around 20,000 new songs every day to their S3 buckets. And with 11 nines of durability, you don't lose them. And it's extremely cost efficient. You can encrypt the data with your keys. Supercell Games has been the most successful mobile developer company, 3 years in a row now? One reason is that they're extremely smart at customer management. Supercell Games are collecting terabytes of information every day from their tens of millions of players of Clash of Clans, Heyday and Boom Beach. And they do real-time analytics. They run their game backends fully on AWS. They just have laptops in the office, cool office. You walk around with your socks, no shoes, in Finland. And Supercell have data scientists doing real-time analytics of your player experience while you are connected. Why? Because they have made algorithms that can detect that you are getting bored with the game. Why is that important? They know you are getting bored, they can predict it, and they can affect your experience while you are connected. If they analyze it tomorrow, it's too late, you're gone. Yeah, we know he left the game, churn. That's maybe one reason Supercell has been the most successful gaming company 3 years in a row. So let's talk about running your backend services. In the old days, you always needed to buy a server. Well, that's a bit old school and that's a bit expensive as well. And how many servers do you need? In the beginning, 1, 2, development, Angry Birds, Clash of Clans, boom, tens of millions of players. Then you need a lot of capacity. So now 1 year ago, this is my favorite baby in the AWS cloud. We launched a brand new compute service, AWS Lambda, serverless computing. Serverless computing, because at the end of the day, you don't care about managing servers. You don't care about managing operating systems, installing packages, doing security patching and whatever, scaling them, making them reliable, durable. You just want to run your application, right? So with AWS Lambda, all you need is your code. You give it to the service, and you tell the service, please run this whenever I need to run it. And Lambda runs it in milliseconds at any scale. And then you are charged at 100 millisecond chunks of compute time. So if your Lambda function executes once, your event happens once a day. You don't actually pay anything. It has 3.2 million seconds of free compute every month. But then, if you hit the jackpot and you get millions of requests per second, Lambda will scale to any scale. Well, that's great, but you said no servers, so how can we build an entire system without any servers? Well, in the past, or traditionally, people have built three-tier architectures. They have looked like this. You've got your mobile client, maybe web clients, connecting to your backend servers, maybe running in the AWS cloud. And then those game servers have been connecting to other services like storage and databases and analytics, whatever. So three-tier architecture. But nowadays, you can actually move to two-tier architecture. You can throw away the server tier from the middle. You just have your customers, maybe mobile clients, Android, iOS, whatever, connecting directly to your backend system, and the backend system can be completely scalable at any scale without any servers. How does that work? Lambda is stateless computing. It executes your code and it's fire and forget. It doesn't remember the next execution. They're like soap bubbles. You need to keep your session state somewhere. Remember HTTP, for example, sessionless, individual requests. One idea is to put them in DynamoDB. So if you want to persist a session storage, like a shopping cart or whatever, DynamoDB is one option for you. Why? Because it has unlimited capacity. So traditionally, the bottleneck with databases has been that it's extremely difficult to scale the centralized database that all your servers are hitting. That's the bottleneck, and how do you scale that? And when there's a problem with the central backend database, everything goes down. That's the big pain. And it's always 4 in the morning. I used to work at Global Tech Support. It's always 4 in the morning if something happens. So that's why we built DynamoDB at Amazon. DynamoDB has unlimited throughput. You decide how many requests per second you need, reads and writes. DynamoDB gives you that consistently, and every single request you make to Dynamo is a single-digit millisecond response time. It never ever slows down. And you cannot fill it up. It's unlimited storage capacity as well. So, Fruit Ninja. If you play Fruit Ninja, millions of players play it at the same time. All the sessions of all the Fruit Ninja slicing and dicing players are handled by DynamoDB for half-brick games. So they don't need to worry about capacity, how many people are connected. It's unlimited scale. Enough slides. So the death by PowerPoint portion wasn't too bad here, right? Let's do a live demo, and this is a live demo. No recordings, no screenshots. I'd like to show you event-driven serverless computing. Synchronous Lambda function execution from your code. So it looks like this. You've got your client. It could be a mobile app. In this case, I use my laptop as the client with a JavaScript application running on my client. But then the backend system is in the AWS cloud. And because servers are kind of old school, I wanted to do it serverless. So when I use the front end here on my laptop, it's talking only to AWS Lambda, directly from the code. And Lambda can then use other backend services like storage and databases. This is the little snippet from JavaScript from the application we are going to run to show you how easy it is to use Lambda directly from your application. So think about it this way. You've got your mobile player playing the game on their phone. The phones are pretty powerful. But if you want to do something super heavy, you can use the capacity of AWS Cloud as an unlimited capacity supercomputer executing stuff for your customer. How? You can make a function call from your mobile game to AWS Lambda, and it has unlimited scale. The Large Hadron Collider at CERN, for example, is running the Atlas experiment on AWS because they need unlimited capacity. So you have the same capacity available for your backend system. How easy is it? Using the SDK, you create a Lambda client, and then you just invoke with one command, one line of code, you invoke a function, and instead of this function running on your mobile device, that particular function is running on AWS site then, with unlimited capacity. And then you get a response, and you work with the response. And it's a synchronous call. You can make asynchronous call, you can wait for the response later. This is a synchronous call. So you call and you wait for the response immediately back. And Lambda can do whatever in the background it wants. It can use S3, DynamoDB, whatever. Machine learning service, it's up to you. So this is the demo I'm going to show you, and it's a live demo again. My client is my laptop. First we need to deliver the application to my laptop. So normally you would need web servers, right? There's an alternative. Amazon S3 is not just a storage system, it can also deliver content. So let's deliver the application directly from the storage service S3 to my laptop. No web servers. No need to scale them, no need to pay for them. When we run the app on my browser, and if I click some buttons, those buttons are calling the Lambda code, Lambda functions in the AWS cloud, so serverless computing. And Lambda can use DynamoDB, database service, and, for example, the simple notification service to send a push message to my iPhone. So the app I'm going to show you is a blog. It's a blog with a backend system in the cloud without any servers. And if I make a block entry, the Lambda function that receives the new block entry for my laptop will store the metadata in DynamoDB and send a notification to my phone using the simple notification service, send a mobile push message. None of these have any servers for you to manage, and all of them are unlimited scale. So let's get to the demo. So first of all, if you haven't seen the AWS Cloud Console, it looks like this. This is one way, click around in the GUI, or you can use the command line, or programmatically from your programming language using SDKs, like developers would do, of course. So let's start in S3. So simple storage service. This is one bucket, and in this bucket I have my app. So this is the app I want to deliver to my customer machine, my laptop. If you make your files publicly accessible, they are not normally. If you make them, S3 will give you a link. There you go. Of course, you can put a nice domain name for that with Route 53, like mygame.com, whatever. So then you click the link, and now S3, Amazon S3, delivered over the internet the application to my laptop. Now my browser is running my app. So now we delivered the app to the customer. Now we are running it. And then there's two buttons, those blue buttons. Load existing comments in the blog, make a new comment. Those are links to Lambda functions. And if I now click this first button, load comments, that issues a synchronous function call from this JavaScript browser to AWS Lambda serverless computing, and Lambda then gets these comments. So we have a couple of comments there, good morning Bangkok, etc. How do we know they came from DynamoDB? This is DynamoDB, our database service. Here we have a table, Lambda demo posts. And if we scan the table, we can see that currently we indeed have two comments or two entries in this database table. Good morning Bangkok and AWS IoT Hack Day. How did we know that Lambda executed it? How did Lambda get this? Well, when I click the button, that button click actually called this function in AWS Lambda that I have given a name get all posts. If we look at that, we can see that it is indeed a little piece of code. It's just one page of code, so it's very easy to make these, very quick. And all it has is, we make a new DynamoDB client using the Node.js SDK in this case, and from this table we load the comments, and then we return the comments in a structure back to the JavaScript application. So this Lambda function executed. If you look at the monitoring, we can see that, yes, indeed, we have invoked this Lambda function. We can see how many milliseconds. For example, the average execution time is 130 milliseconds in this case. So that has caused 200 milliseconds of compute time. Not hours, milliseconds. But let's do something more interesting. Let's make a new comment. When I click this new comment button, I write some text. It should put the information, new information in the DynamoDB table database, and it should send a push message to my phone. So let's see my phone. With some magic here, I have an iPhone. I want to show you my phone. Not this, that's me. Hello. The other one, which would be my iPhone. Come on. There we go. So this is a live feed from my phone with the magic of a cable. There we go. So that's my phone. So now let's make a new comment. GMASA, bang, BGK rules, and servers are too old school for us. All right, I click post. When I click post, it should invoke a Lambda function. The data should go to the database in DynamoDB, and Amazon Simple Notification Service is called by Lambda, and it should send a message to Apple, and then Apple figures out where my phone is and sends it to my phone. Click. Now, let's look at my phone. Bang. That was the push delivery to my phone live. So Amazon Simple Notification Service sent the message to Apple. Apple figured out where I am. Oh, he's in Bangkok, whatever. Send. So as an administrator, if you will, I was notified that my app has now a new comment. It's really cool that I got it on my phone. Actually, I got an email as well. So I specified 2 delivery methods, email and push notification. So that worked. And let's go now to see the database side. Did we actually insert the information into the table? You can see we've got the old information here. If I refresh the DynamoDB table, click, there you go. There's the new entry we made, GSMA Bangkok rules. And that was done by another Lambda function. I'll quickly show you, called create new post. This is the code. It creates a DynamoDB client and a simple notification client. It puts the information in the table in DynamoDB, and then if that works, it will publish the message through Amazon SNS, Simple Notification Service. And my phone is subscribed to that. So there you go. So that's a dynamic block. And just to recap, it is a completely serverless architecture. We delivered the application directly from the storage system over the internet to the customers, no web servers. And then the dynamic backend was working with AWS Lambda, serverless computing. You don't need to manage any servers. You don't need to run servers 24/7 waiting for stuff to happen. If there's no customers doing anything, nothing executes, you don't pay for anything. And then Lambda scales to unlimited scale, as well as the other services here. So that's cool. Because servers are, to be honest, so last season. Thank you very much. Kap kun kap.
Thank you to Mr. Marco Levister for that mind-blowing talk. And can I please invite to the stage Mr. Venkatesh CR to present the token of appreciation and for a selfie with Mr. Levisto and myself.